This is Alex, writer for Battleship Pretension and Film Inquiry, and we're going to do something a little different today. It's going to be a special series of episodes where we take a look at this endless catalog known as Alex's Movie Collection, and we'll focus and look at various subjects of interest. And we're going to kick it off with a little something I call a Viva La Chiba. That's right, a tribute to the one and only Shinichi Chiba, or better known to many as Sonny Chiba. So for a lot of people, Sonny Chiba is probably best known for his Street Fighter series. The Street Fighter, Return of Street Fighter, and Sister Street Fighter. Or the sushi chef / swordsmith and Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill films. Well, of course, there's more to the story, as Sonny Chiba had an illustrious career with over 200 screen credits spanning decades and decades. Now, I've amassed a bit of a collection of his films over the years, which is kind of a funny subject to explore for various reasons. Now, for many years, Sonny Chiba's films were kind of hard to come by. They were really only available on poorly dubbed to badly transferred DVDs. You could catch the Street Fighter films on television sometimes, which is how I learned about them, as I'm sure many others did. But it was kind of slim pickings for fans of Japanese cinema. Ironically, for a long time, it was hard to find one of Chiba's best-known films in its Japanese language track, and that is The Street Fighter. Luckily, to a excellent eBay seller who's probably long since defunct, put it together through Bonsai Media. Since then, Shout Factory has put out a pretty comprehensive collection of Street Fighter films. However, for the longest time, this was the only way to really get the original film in all its glory. So, pretty important title, pretty formative film. And also, part of the reason why this was so hard is because, like so many great films out there, the Street Fighter films had fallen into the public domain. So they would get cut, recut, and, stretched down to the wrong format and basically looking terrible. Now, one of the first collections that I think is one of the coolest things that I own still to this day is the Sonny Chiba Collection, original title, I know. But the really cool thing going on here is that this has the English dub as well as the Japanese language track of a certain movie called Bullet Train. So what I didn't know for the longest time was that Speed, the Keanu Reeves bus film, was not entirely an original idea. The original idea came from Bullet Train, and it is not a bus, but a Japanese bullet train, something that travels at about 200 miles an hour, rigged with an explosive that's going to go off if it falls below a certain mileage. I'm sure you've heard this before. It's a wild flick, runs at about 2.5 hours, and Sonny Chiba plays the train conductor, and it's a pretty great flick. A little on the long side, but worth every second, if you ask me. Also, this features in anamorphic widescreen the live-action Golgo 13. For a lot of you, I'm sure you've heard the name Golgo 13, whether it's the old-school NES video game or the anime films that have come out. But they did do a live-action one, and the eponymous spy is played by none other than Sonny Chiba. It's a little campy, it's a little awesome, and it's a little wonderful. It's a great film that I would highly recommend checking out. So I would definitely try to get your hands on this. It's pretty easy on the wallet. It also features Karate Warriors, The Bodyguard, Dragon Princess, and Sister Street Fighter. However, they're presented here in the English dub. If that's your bag, more power to you, but it's worth it for Golgo 13 and Bullet Train. Now, moving on. This is kind of a twofer. This is the Shogun collection and the Samurai collection. Again, a lot of these films were shown in inferior formats with bad dubbing and everything, but these anamorphic widescreen transfers look about as good as these movies ever have. That is until we see something later on Blu-ray. The two standout titles, I would say, are Shogun Samurai and Swords of Vengeance. Shogun Samurai is a strong title, replete with imperial intrigue, double-crossing, and corruption galore. The other hit on this is Swords of Vengeance, which is another one of the many retellings of the 47 Ronin. Now, both of these films have a special distinction because they were helmed by director Kinji Fukasaku, who, in my opinion, is one of the best and somewhat unsung hero of Japanese cinema. Not only did he direct a bevy of iconic Japanese films, including the indelible Yakuza Paper series here, also Graveyard of Honor, Street Mobster. He also directed the Japanese half of Tora 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 after a frustrated Akira Kurosawa was pink-slipped. Now, other titles featured here are Shogun's Ninja and Shogun's Shadow. They're not quite up to the caliber of the other two films on the set. They're fun, if sometimes silly, explorations of the genre. But hey, what the hell, right? Now, back to back, there is the Samurai Collection, which features Legend of the Eight Samurai and Ninja Wars, Black Magic Wars. Yeah, they say wars twice in the title. These aren't the best films, especially considering that in the early 80s period, samurai films were kind of falling out of vogue. But the surprise title here is G.I. Samurai Time Slip. That's the title. We'll just call it G.I. Samurai. It is really interesting because it's a time-traveling narrative where modern-day Japanese soldiers are transported back to feudal Japan. And, as you guessed it, hijinks ensue. Now, the whole concept seems quite silly, but Sonny Chiba does bring his A-game to the film and really adds some gravitas to the overall proceedings. Now, ironically, I had always thought that G.I. Samurai was kind of Japan's answer to The Final Countdown, another time-traveling World War II type action-adventure war film. However, G.I. Samurai came out in 1979 while The Final Countdown hit theaters in 1980. So maybe watch them back-to-back. You be the judge. Also, if you want a pretty comprehensive video about The Final Countdown, I would check out John's channel, The Movie Collector, where he does a pretty thorough review of Blue Underground's 4K release of the film. Anyhow, moving on. Now, this is a really fun one. Now, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of period films were kind of falling out of vogue. Yakuza films as well were kind of falling out of vogue. That is until Takashi Kitano and Takashi Miike would kind of revitalize the genre later. However, a lot of popular film series, the Zatoichi films, Lone Wolf and Cub, were actually turned into TV series. And one of the great 80s Japanese television series out there is The Shadow Warriors. Now, this is a really treat. This was a really hard series to find. You could get some bootleg VHS tapes out there for a while. But Ronin Entertainment, along with Toei Studios, put together the first season of Shadow Warriors, all 27 episodes, in this pretty excellent set. It's got a pretty decent restoration, and it's presented in its original Japanese language track. Now, this is where the Hattori Hanzo legend comes to the fore. This character would later be revised by Quentin Tarantino in the Kill Bill movies, as Sonny Chiba plays the soft-spoken sushi chef turned swordsmith, or swordsmith turned sushi chef. That's hard to say. But the series is a lot of fun. The titular warriors, they ferret out mysteries, they unravel evil plots, they duel with rogue samurai, even face off with some black magic. Also, the theme music is totally a blast. As far as I know, only the first season is available, but let's keep our fingers crossed for a second season. And I'm pretty sure there's more than just two, but more on that later. Furthermore, there's also Takashi Miike's Violent Fire, also known as Deadly Outlaw Reika. Now, we actually covered a trailer of this film on the Trailer Project earlier on. It's a later Chiba film, but an early Takashi Miike movie. That's a great big old splash of ultra-violent fun that only an auteur such as Takashi Miike could deliver. Also, if you want to check out a great unhinged Sonny Chiba performance, I would check out Kinji Fukusaku's The Yakuza Papers. Not only is this a terrific series, also it features a great performance in the second entry, Deadly Fight in Hiroshima, where Sonny Chiba plays a batshit crazy gangster who really knows how to sport a Hawaiian shirt. Ironically, we've covered a lot of ground here, and yet we have merely scratched the surface of Sonny Chiba's wonderful career. Thanks for making it this far, and who knows, maybe we'll have to do another one of these. Perhaps a Viva Chiba Part 2, or we'll cover something else. I'll include a link for the Movie Collector in the description below. Also, like, subscribe, sound off in the comments if there's anything else you might want to see us cover. And thanks for making it this far. Thanks for watching. Be safe out there, and we'll catch you later.